was. So Bharat was a very, very strong king. In fact, in his childhood days, he used to play with lions and tigers like that. So he had very special quality. He was very strong, powerful. And then he became the king after Rishabdev left for he retired, and King Bharat was made the king. So he was following his father's Rishabdev's footstep, and he was a learned king. So I'll go a little slow in this because it's a very important, nice story. So he was a very learned king, and he perfectly performed his duties. He used to inspire the citizens of the duties, and he was free from bad qualities. He did not have envy, greed, or any attachments. So he was with best of the qualities. And he, as a see, the king's role is not only to be not have to have best of the qualities, but they should be spiritually advanced also. So we used to perform various sacrifices for worshipping the Lord Krishna for with love. Just a minute now. Yeah, so he used to do perform his all material desires, worshipping Lord, and he used to perform his chant bhakti. He used to chant and meditate upon the Lord's qualities and forms. So he was there, and he ruled the earth for 1 crore years. So this is the time of Satyug. So Satyug, Satyug mein the life span of people was in crores. So they used to live so much huge life. It was the life keeps on falling with every yuga. So Satyug was very huge. He so for 1 crore years he ruled the earth, and then after that, see every king. It's so important that every chapter teaches us all kings who were there, they retired after a point of time. They when they reached a particular age, they retired. So for our Kali Yuga, the age for retirement is actually 51. 51. So 51 means one means forest. So 51 go to the forest on 51 generally because the age is split into, say now average lifespan of people is 80 years. So it is split into first 20 years of education, then another 20 years for your growth, this thing, then next 20 years for austerities and this thing, and last 20 years should be retirement to the forest, completely detached and out of family. So this is the way the life has to be split. But now I see, so many great people marrying at the age of 60s. So recently I had some cricketer, Arunlan Sharma. He's marrying at 64, who was part of 1983 World Cup. And he's marrying to a girl who is 30, 20, 30, 30, 25, 30 types. So the world is actually going in a totally wrong direction. The people are making, just they want to, are not getting away with their detachments. So that age, one people should respect that age, and what should be done after that age is described in our scriptures, not what people are doing right now. So after this, Bharat, what he did, he retired and he gave his kingdom to his 5 sons, and then he went to a place which was called Pulha where there was a river named Gandaki, and he did, and there were Shaligram Shilas. So there are Shaligram Shilas which are basically considered as Lord Vishnu themselves. And then he used to worship the Lord completely. He lived there alone, and he used to daily bath, then worship Lord. He used to offer flowers, tulsi leaves, and water from the river. And complete worship he used to spend every day. So every day he used to do this ritually. So he was going, so in his retired life, he was doing this perfectly well. But one day, what happened? So once he was coming from the finishing his morning duties, and he was sitting near the river Gandaki. He was sitting there and he was chanting. At that time, he saw a pregnant doe. Basically, pregnant doe is a female deer. So pregnant deer, which came there for quench of the thirst. So she had come. She was thirsty and she wanted to drink the water. But at that time, there was a roar of a lion. So there was a lion passing by somewhere, and the lion roared, and suddenly this deer, doe, pregnant doe, she became afraid and she just jumped across the river. So in fear, what happened? Her baby, which was there, she was pregnant, so there was a baby in her womb, and that baby just fell in the water from there. And also the other deers who were there along with, so it was a group of deers. that they fled away. And this deer was whose baby fell down, and she died in fear and this thing. So she died, and only the baby deer was left. So now, when baby deer was there, it was in the river. It was just floating in the river. So Bharat, who saw this, King Bharata, he became very affectionate to this. He had a compassion, seeing that such a small child, how it will live. So what he decided to take it with himself and started maintaining her. So he started taking care of the this small deer, baby deer. But what happened because of this? His attachment, he started getting attachment towards this baby deer, and his other rituals of worship started diminishing. So he started that started falling down, and he was always taking care of that baby deer everywhere, bathing it, making him food, giving him food, and taking care of the deer, and always worried, any ferocious animal should not come and attack this thing. And he used to make that deer sleep on his chest. Nowadays there's a people have a habit of they keep pets. So you see dogs in many places. The dogs are also maintained in this the attachment to the dogs is very much too much basically. So excessive attachment is very dangerous. Not only dogs, but excessive attachment to our children or to anybody is not good. So here he became very excessively attached. He became so much attached that he stopped completing his sadhana. His sadhana was uh, neglected completely. So this is the way he was taking care. So his attention was completely diverted. So he became distracted to this deer. So, but what happened now? His because of this attachment to the deer, and when his death came nearby, his he was only thinking about the deer. And once what happened? This deer ran away. So he was always thinking of the deer, and this deer once, because the deer when it grew up, so it did not stay. He ran away. He ran to the forest, and then again he became depressed. So Bharat became depressed. Where has the deer gone? What will happen? How will it survive? What if the animals kill? So he was just thinking about that, and in this thought, he left his life. So in fact, he was so mad, he started thinking about the deer that it is so, he used to see a moon, he used to think of the deer, he used to see everything. His all thoughts were roaming around the deer. And finally, when he died, his thought was only with the deer. And because of this, he took next birth, he took as a deer. So Bharat becomes deer. So this country is called Bharatvarsh also because of King Bharat is one of the names of our country's name is Bharatvarsh because of King Bharat also, because he was a very good king and he ruled the kingdom for almost or the earth for almost one crore years, and he ruled very well. So now he died, and next birth he took birth of a deer, and he took birth in some Kalanjara mountain. But God was so kind to him now that although he took a birth of a deer, he remembered his previous birth. So God was merciful. He said, "Okay, you're born as a deer, but you will remember your previous birth." And then when he remembered, uh, he could remember, I was such a king. I was doing so much of worship, so much of chanting, and suddenly I got distracted for a deer. And this happens in many of our lives. Distraction in this material world is too strong. So you can think, in Satyuga, a great uh, king Bharat, he was distracted. So today, though we have distractions so multifold, mobile, so many parties, we get distracted too much. So our devotion is very very feeble. So in today's world, though, we are so seeing, having attention, having chanting properly, doing chanting properly is very very difficult. But what we should do chanting, irrespective of our concentration, but we should try to do maximum numbers of chanting, because in this Kali Yuga, this is the only way. God says, by mistake. So we'll come to the next story of Ajamil in the next session, which will teach us, how powerful chanting is. Although it is, even if it is done in a, what do you say, not even with concentration, then also it is very powerful. So, so Jad Bharat, this dear Bharat also, he remembered this, and now he decided, I will see that I focus only on getting to my devotion, and next birth I should get a human birth. So what he did, this deer Bharat, he started living in that mountain, and then from that mountain he went back to the old place where he was staying, where Bharat was staying. So it was at Pulha Ashram. So he went there. There he left. There he lived alone. He eated only dry leaves, grass, and he always thought of the Lord in the body of a deer. He was fortunate that he had that remembrance, and he could think of the Lord, and with that he left his life as a deer. So once he died, then after that he was born in a Brahmin family. So he was born in a family of sage Angira, and in the dynasty of sage Angira he was born. So he was born in a Brahmana who had two wives, and his first wife had 9 sons, and his second wife had twins, a girl and a boy. And this boy was actually the same Bharat, so who had become a deer. Now he is born as, so his name was again Bharat only. He's called as Bharat only. So in the previous name also, birth also, he was called Bharat. Here also he's called Bharat. So he and again, fortunately, he remembered both the previous births. So now this birth, he decided that I will not talk to anybody. I will behave like a dull, dumb person. So that's why the name comes Jad Bharat. So Jad Bharat, he says, this birth, I will use this life only. I will not make the mistakes of distraction of my previous birth. So what he did, so he used to live very, very dumb. So all his family members were cultured, they were Brahmanic, but he behaved as if he's a fool or an ignorant person, and he never used to participate in anything because he did not want to get distracted this time. He said, this time though I'll behave dumb, I'll not do anything, even whatever happens. So Jad Bharat's father was a Brahman. He used to teach him a lot of Brahmanical etiquettes or Vedic mantras, but he never used to learn them. So he used to show that, I can't understand. So whatever he used to taught, he used to really not follow. And he used to do bad habits. So suppose he used to go for washroom or excretion, generally you wash your hands afterwards. So he'll wash his hands before, afterwards he'll not wash. So he used to do wrong things. So if his father used to teach him Gayatri mantra, he was not learning that. So he never learned. In fact, after 4 months also, he did not learn Gayatri mantra. Although he was very intelligent, but he behaved like this for his life. So then his father and families also started ignore him. His father decided, he's not fit for marriage and this thing. So fortunately, the father decided we should not marry him also. So he was very happy. So he did not get married. And once when his father died, so his other brothers actually did not take care of him. They used to give him a lot of, work of very, very physical laborers work. So go to the field, something clear. So he was not given any education. And he himself did not want to take education because he was actually very, very knowledgeable. From his previous birth, he had all the knowledge. So he did not want any knowledge. And then he was working like a slave, and this thing, he used to work on the fields. And his brothers, they used to give him very, very dry rice, which is actually to be thrown off. Such kind of food he used to give. And he never used to, feel bad about it. Or he was satisfied. He never complained. So I can remember of, I think, Gopal Bhatt Goswami, just correct me, Mataji. Gopal Bhatt Goswami was one who left all his wealth and he came to
Raghunath Das Goswami.
Raghunath Das Goswami, sorry. Raghunath Das Goswami. So Raghunath Das Goswami, okay, Radha Kundwale. So Raghunath Das Goswami, he left everything. He was very rich. So he came out of his family and he used to stay in Jagannath Puri Dham, and he used to eat the food which was thrown away, which the animals also were not eating, the prasad which was lying in the dust, and he used to eat that and he used to survive. And he came from a wealthy place. So he's this also, Jad Bharat. He never complained. Whatever you give him, you don't give him. He never had any desire to satisfy his tongue. So he was only focusing on this thing. But he was very strong. He was strong like a bull. And he did not wear proper clothes. And he used to look very dirty and, this thing. So people used to call him, Brahma Bandhu, basically unqualified Brahman. So he was insulted. People used to make joke of him. And he was given such labor work. So his life was just going on this way, meditation. So suddenly what happened? So this teaching is, the tolerance. One thing we learn from Jad Bharat is tolerance is very important. If we are tolerant to anything, we'll become humble, and our distraction will not be there. So the tolerance is very important. It's not necessary, that we prove ourselves every time. And in life, what happens? Somebody tries to provoke you, then you try to prove him that I am right. It's not necessary. We should prove. We are not supposed to waste our energies on everything. Each and everything. It's not necessary. How we react is very, very important. Our reaction to a thing will decide our anxiety, anger. Those qualities can be controlled only if we control our reactions and if we are tolerant. So if we don't react, it's not. We should think, once, is that other person deserving my reaction? Does he deserve my anger? Does he deserve my anxiety? You should not waste your such precious things on anybody like that. So you should avoid that. So this Jad Bharat also did not, he never used to get angry. So whatever he gets, he gets. So what happened? So there were dacoits. So dacoits who were there. The leader of the dacoit decided was wanting to do a sacrifice to goddess Kali because he wanted a son. He wanted to worship Kali and Mata Kali and he wanted to do a sacrifice. So when they were bringing a person for doing a sacrifice, that person ran away. So now that leader told dacoit leader, I want to do the sacrifice. So you get a person. So there's the people who were dacoits. They were searching for somebody. So they saw Jad Bharat in a farm, and they found him very, very, very strong. So they find, he's a perfect person for a sacrifice to goddess Kali. So then they brought him. They arrested him. And Bharat did not, he did not protest. He said, whatever you want to do. As such, my body is not my body. So he went along with them. And the dacoits went and they made him ready. They bathed him and they prepared him for the sacrifice. And there was some priest of the dacoits who did all the mantras. And finally, when they did some arti prayers and this thing, and then when this a sword was picked to cut the head of Jad Bharat, the goddess Kali, she came out of the deity. She became alive and she took that sword and cut all the dacoits' head. So this is a scene where the devotees, Mother Kali's devotees were killed by Mother Kali herself because these dacoits were killing a Vaishnava, a devotee of Lord Krishna. Because goddess Kali is also a devotee of Lord Krishna, she cannot tolerate the devotees of Lord Krishna to be suffer. And even though she did not bother of killing her own devotees, her own devotees, they were doing that sacrifice. She did not bother and she killed. So this is the power of worshipping Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu. So she killed everybody. And Jad Bharat was saved from there. But Jad Bharat, he was very calm, everything. He did not react, He was arrested. Mother Kali comes, kills the dacoits. And Jad Bharat is calm and everything. He kept silent. And he just, after that, he went back to his place. So here, one of the lessons from this chapter is, a lesson on desire. We should desire good things. You can have desire, but not at the cost of giving trouble to anybody. So if we have some desires, we should not look at troubling other people. So in this case, the dacoits were trying to trouble somebody, kill somebody for having a son. So which is not correct. So having desires should not be done at the cost of troubling people. So this was one of the incidents. So second big incident of Jad Bharat's life is another one. Subsequently, what happened? There was a king named called Rahugana. Rahugana was a king. He was traveling somewhere. He was a ruler of some Sindhu and Sauvitra provinces, and he was going to Kapila Ashram. He was going to meet one of the great sages, Kapil Mushni, and he was in a palanquin. So palanquin is that palki where 4 people carry, and the king sits inside. So he was going there. So what happened? One person from there also ran away, and they needed one more person, one strong person to carry that palanquin. So there were 3 of them. So we needed one. So they also searched somebody, and they found Jad Bharat, again, very strong personality. So they brought Jad Bharat and told him, you help in taking this palanquin with us. So so Jad Bharat said, okay, I'll come. So he never said no to any work. So he said, okay, I'll come. So he came. So now what happened when this palanquin was being carried? So there were ants on the street, on the path. So uh, Jad Bharat was very cautious. He did not want to hurt the ants or anybody which was on the this thing. So what he was doing was jumping. So he was just trying to save you that his feet does not touch any ant on the path, and he was jumping. And because of this, the whole palanquin was shaking because three people are walking properly. One first person is jumping, and then Rahu Gana was sitting inside the palanquin. He was getting disturbed. What is happening? So he became so angry that he told to Jar Bharat, oh, you must be fatigued from carrying the palanquin alone for so long because you are old, weak, and unhealthy. Are your fellow carriers not cooperating with you? So he's actually uh, sarcastically telling him, you're weak. Also, he was very strong. And he's saying, others are not helping you. You will be tired. And all those things. He was actually giving a sarcastic comment. But Jadvarat did not react to it. And he did not say anything. And he moved ahead. But again, what happened? When again they started walking, again the same thing happens. So Jad Bharat was again jumping to save the ants. So now to Raugana became very angry. Now he said, are you dead? Despite the life in your body, are you mad? You are disregarding the orders of your master. For this disobedience, I shall punish you. So this is the second time Raugana is now telling Jar Bharat. Jar Bharat in his whole life did not talk anything. This is the first time now Jar Bharat will reply in his whole life. He never used to respond to anybody. So now Jar Bharat is replying, and his replies are very, very important and very, very, scriptural. So Jar Bharat smiled and replied to the king, O king, as you rightly said, I am not fatigued because fatigue belongs only to the body. I am a spirit soul detached from the body. My body may be strong and young, but these qualities don't apply to the soul. You said that you are the king and I am your servant, but these positions are temporary and may change later. You said you would punish me, but that is useless, for I am a self realized soul wandering like a madman. There is no use punishing a self realized man or a madman. Saying this, Bharat continues. So, such beautiful sentences he said, He's saying, fatigue, thakawat kisko hoti hai? Who becomes tired? Who's fatigued? The body is fatigued, but I'm not the body, I'm a soul. So, this doesn't apply. My soul doesn't becomes fatigued. And plus, you said I'm dead. So, body can be dead. I'm not. And plus, this position, you are the king, I'm the servant, but this temporary, this birth, you are the king and I'm the servant. In the next birth, I can become a king and you can become my servant. So we don't know what will happen. So in the soul, there is no relationship. And he gave such an intelligent answer to Raugana. Raugana to got a shock of his life. A palanquin person who is carrying a laborer kind of a person. He gives you gyan, he gives you super knowledge. So you'll be shocked. So now, hearing Bharata's profound reply, Raugana immediately gave up the pride of the king and immediately came out of his palanquin and fell at Bharata's feet. So he immediately fell there, he asked him forgiveness. Immediate reaction, immediate thing. He asked forgiveness. He said, who are you? Are you a learned Brahmana or a liberated saint like Dattatreya? Are you Lord Kapila or Lord Narayan? What? Why are you wandering around like a madman? Please mercifully reveal your identity. And then further, Raugana is saying, I am not afraid of Indra's thunderbolt, Lord Shiva's trident, Yamra's punishment, or the weapons of great devtas. But I am afraid of offending the brahmanas, the sages, and the devotees like yourself. So, if people should be afraid of offending the brahmanas, offending the sages, that is the biggest fear to have. And so please forgive my offenses committed without knowing your great position. So Raugana, with just few sentences of Jad Bharat, he realized that Jad Bharat was a great soul, and he immediately fell to his feet and asked forgiveness. And he's saying, why are you roaming around here? So now Jad Bharat is replying. So important thing is, when you realize there's a mistake, immediately apologize. That immediate apologize can make the other person calm, and your sins will also be not accumulated. Jar Bharat replied, I, I was the famous Emperor Bharat in my past life. I was fully absorbed in Lord's service, but became distracted due to undue affection for the deer. Thus, I became a deer in the next life. But I could remember my previous life and meditate on Krishna even in a deer body. So he remembers, I was Bharat and I got distracted. Then I became deer, but I could remember my previous life and could meditate also. Thus, now I attend this Brahmana birth to avoid material association. I am wandering about unnoticed. So you will see many sages in Vrindavan and forest now. There are many sages who wander around because they don't want to get entangled with this material world, because this is the cause of distraction. So so King Ravana was astonished. Then Bharat said, when the mind is absorbed in material enjoyment, it causes suffering. So biggest reason of our suffering is we are too much engrossed in material enjoyment because we have too many desires. We want this, we want to enjoy this, we want to we want to go on holidays to so many places. We want to, eat good foods, spend time and go to five-star hotels. So our main suffering is because our desires never end. So we are this thing. But when the same mind is attached to Krishna, it leads to liberation. We have only to divert our mind to Lord Krishna. We just have to start thinking about Him. Then all our desires will also be fulfilled, and will not be, having undue desires. One can conquer the mind with the weapon of service to the devotees, Guru and Krishna. Ravana expressed his gratitude to Bharat for his teachings, while Bharat continued his wanderings and eventually attained the kingdom of God. So here, Rahugana was going to go to a Kapil ashram. He stopped. He said, I got this knowledge from you, so I don't need to go anywhere. So he returned back to his kingdom after getting this knowledge from Jad Bharat. And then Jad Bharat also completed his life, and now he was liberated because this time he did not make a mistake. So your learning is regret. Whenever you do a mistake, immediately apologize and try to rectify. So in this story, now there's one important thing which teaches us why did Bharat lose his track. One thing is distraction is fine, but there is one more reason. So can anybody think of, what is the reason why King Bharat lost track and he got attracted to a deer? So what do you think can be the reason? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Association was missing.
Sorry?
He was alone in the forest.
Absolutely right. I think you also heard
Association was not there.
Is association. So association is very, very important. We are not capable in this world to go alone to a forest and do meditation. Association, without association, we will fall down. So association of the devotees, Vaishnavas is very, very important in life. So never try to do things alone. So in fact, having a guru in life is important. Second thing is association is important. Always be associated with Vaishnavas who are into chanting, with the like-minded people who do seva in the temple. Be associated with them. You will never fall down, and you will always be taken care of. You'll be helped by the Lord. So association is very important. So this Jad Bharat story is a very, very important story which show that our distraction, attachment to material things, for him this was a deer who he was attached, and then how he had to come out, struggle, after doing so much of meditation, he suffered, and then he finally. But here, one more important lesson is whatever we carry, whatever spiritual deeds, what we do, will get carried forward. So if we do good deeds of austerity or charity, that will only help us to go to a heavenly planet and enjoy for some time and then come down. But the spiritual things, chanting, devotional activities, they get carried forward to our next birth. So that credit always remains. So if we are not liberated in this birth, we'll definitely be liberated in subsequent birth. We'll get the direction. We'll take a birth in a family who is of devotees. So it will move forward. So this devotion is very, very important. Spiritual activities are very, very important. Any questions on the story of Jad Bharat? we? Yeah, Edith.
Who did you say used to eat the remains from Jagannath Puri?
Sorry. Raghunath Das Goswami.
Oh, thank you, Prabhu.
Raghunath Das Goswami was the one who used to use cementines there. And in fact, once Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and took that snatch from him, and he also started eating, saying that you are only enjoying this great prasadam. You're not allowing me, you're not sharing with me. So, but Raghunath Das Goswami was from a very, very rich family. He was from a very, very rich family with a very beautiful wife, but he left everything because he wanted to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
To show, but I will show it on the next session.
Okay. Okay, we'll read the story of the chapter 26, the cunning calf. So the beautiful ambience of Vrindavan gave great happiness to the Gopas and the Gopis, cows and calves. When Krishna and Balaram were about 3 years old, the elder Gopas decided to engage them in taking care of the calves. Now Krishna has grown big. Now he's 3 years old and he's been given the responsibility of taking care of the calves, not the cows. So the young calves. It was a tradition among the cowherds to have the young boys start by looking after the calves. And as they grew a little older, they would gradually take on the responsibility of tending to the cows. So yesterday I was seeing one video on Mataji forwarded. Our Prime Minister Modi, he had some cows in his house. So his video, he shared some cows who are short in height, and he had those cows. So those cows are actually a breed which is getting extinguished, but with the government's focus, the breed is now increasing, and those cows eat very less and they give very, very high quality milk. They are mostly found in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh side. So with this video of Prime Minister Modi going viral, so many people have started thinking, instead of any other pets, we can actually have cows in our house. And because they were also small, they were not so big, their heights are small. And there's been a huge inquiry of people who want to take cows, and now they're in their places. So suddenly there's a lot of inquiry happening at that Andhra Pradesh side for having cows. So this is actually a very positive sign. So now here he's taking care of he's given the responsibility of tending the cows, not far from their homes. Because you see, people who have dogs also, if somebody complains, cow is there, there'll be a cow dung and so many things we'll have to clean. But if somebody keeps a dog at home, dog also does the same thing. You have to clean everything. In fact, when you walk on the society, there are rules that you have to take the whatever he does, you have to clean that thing. So there are people who carry plastic bags and they, with their hand, they pick up this and they clean those things. So cows ka dung is actually more, medicinal. It is useful for doing so many things. So that also people should not be feeling bad, by having a cow at home instead of a dog. So not far from their homes, Krishna and Balaram started tending their cows along with the other boys. They would usually go to the village outskirts near the banks of Yamuna. As they walked, they would pass through the groves and gardens, engaging in joyful games along the way. Sometimes they would even playfully crawl on the ground. So they are enjoying their childhood times. Dressed in bright garments, adorned with necklaces, bracelets, and tinkling anklets, Krishna and Balaram would play their flutes with great joy. The other boys would create a variety of sounds with their mouths. They would chase the shadows of birds and decorate themselves using flowers, leaves, and peacock feathers. With various playthings, they would throw ropes and stones to bring down fruits from the trees. So, enjoying outdoor activities. So this is, the activities when we were in our childhood times. We also did a lot of outdoor activities. We used to play gulli danda. Used to play, kanche or this thing. A lot of outdoor activities we actually played this thing. Now that those outdoor activities are have reduced significantly because of whatever playgrounds are there, they have become parking lots. So children also can't find places to play. And a lot of games are getting like flying kite. It's only a occasion. It's done on Makar Sankranti. That also in few states, not all places. So previously, flying kites, everything was such a great fun people used to do. Now you're all skyscrapers, so you can't do outdoor activities in the way previously people used to do. So here also, Lord Krishna in his childhood time, he's doing all outdoor activities. They're enjoying. Vatsasura's past life. In his past life, Vatsasura was a great demon named Pramila, the son of Muru. After conquering the Devtas, he entered sage Vasishta's hermitage and saw a cow named Nandini. Desiring to possess a cow, Pramila transformed into a Brahmana and begged Vasisht Muni for the beautiful cow. So now, Pramila, he was a demon, but son of Muru. I think the Muru is the one who was killed by Ekadashi, according to me. He was son of Muru, and Pramila, when he visited Sage Vasisht Ashram Hermitage, he saw one cow named Nandini. He wanted that cow. That cow was very, great milk giving and everything. So what he did, he transformed into a Brahmana and requested for Vasisht Muni to give a cow. Vasishtha stood silent, but the cow Nandini said, "You are a demon, Muru's son, and you have assumed the form of a Brahmana to steal the sage's cow. Therefore, O wicked-hearted one, now you become a calf." Pramila at once became a calf. He circumambulated Vasisht, and the cow bowed and said, Vasisht, he bowed to the cow and said, "Please save me." Then Sri Nandini said, "O great demon, at the end of Dwapar Yuga, when you go among many cows, you will attain liberation." Thus, Lord Krishna liberated Vatsasura. So, Vatsasura was a calf. He was cursed by the Nandini cow, who was the cow of Vasisht Muni. And then they would have fun games like playing football with fruits like Baal and Amalaki, covering themselves with blankets of mimic cows and bulls. They would engage in mock fights with other boys. So they used to cover themselves like cows and bulls, and they used to fight. They even imitated the sounds of animals by roaring loudly. So they used to imitate the sounds. One day by the Yamuna river, a fearsome demon named Vatsasura arrived in the guise of a calf and mingled with other calves. He was a friend of the wicked Kamsa and aimed to kill Krishna and Balram. Little Krishna noticed this danger and alerted Balram. With caution, Krishna approached the calf demon. While pretending to be a regular calf, the demon struck Krishna on the shoulder with his hind legs. So from his behind legs, it hit. Startled, the other boys fled in fear. However, Krishna swiftly seized the demon's hind legs, twirled him around. He picked the hind legs and twirled, just threw him to the ground, just rotating in the air and then throwing it to the ground. He then lifted the demon by its hind legs and tail, spinning it vigorously until it met its demise. Krishna then threw the lifeless demon's body onto the top of a kapita tree. This caused the kapita fruits to fall from the tree like rain, and all the boys picked them up and enjoyed eating. So he threw that calf on the tree, and then kapita tree, there was fruits which fell down and they enjoyed. The boys exclaimed in joy, well done, and celebrated Krishna's victory. The Devtas from the heavenly planet showered flowers as a sign of victory. Finally, a radiant light emerged from the defeated demon and entered the body of Lord Krishna. Thus, the dreadful demon was liberated. So here again, when the demon is dying, the light from that demon came and entered Lord Krishna's body, because everything resides in Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna, he was liberated and it entered Lord Krishna's body. So you see, in many places where there are many demons or they are killed, the soul enters to Lord Krishna's body. What lay in store for Krishna? Will fierce demons visit Krishna anytime soon? So we'll read next. A lesson on duplicity. So this, you remember in our previous one of the stories, we heard about how Indra wanted to stop the 100 sacrifice of Prithu Maharaj, and he came in the disguise of a sage. So that is duplicity. He comes this way. So here a calf is someone really loves, someone Krishna really loves. Vatsasura took the form of an innocent cow, but inside he wanted to harm Krishna. Krishna immediately recognized the demon's deception and dealt with it. A duplicitous person hides his evil nature and possesses to be good externally and tries to teach others. So in today's world, 80% of the population, you can say, is duplicitous. They have evil nature inside, but externally they show, they are very nice. They want to help others, but internally they want to cheat. So if you see businessmen, you see any field, people want to cheat. They want more and more money. So they'll do a lot of tricks and this thing. So duplicity has become, common. If somebody says, if somebody is duplicitous, you can say he's a very good businessman. You'll tell him, oh, he's very smart. A smart person is called, nowadays in today's world, a duplicitous person is called a smart person or a great businessman. But an honest person, also having some faults sincerely, but an honest person also having some faults, sincerely desires and tries to improve oneself and doesn't try to cheat anyone. So, but God loves people who are honest and who do not cheat others. The Lord helps such an honest person to grow in life by overcoming one's shortcomings. Krishna, much like a skilled detective, can see through our tricks and understands what's in our heart. So Krishna is very smart. If we try to cheat Krishna, he'll actually throw us so badly that we will never be able to get up. So we have to be very careful. Never try to cheat anyone. So let's keep our hearts full of goodness and love, and Krishna will always be eager to be our best friends. Role models. So important is we should not be duplicitous. Role models. We all have role models in our lives, but have you considered having a spiritual role model? Take a moment to explore the life of a great person known for his or her deep devotion, sincerity, and non-duplicity. Reflect on what inspires you about this spiritual role model. How can you incorporate their qualities into your own life? So, what role model we choose, very important. So, having film actors, players, those are not kind of a role models we should look for. We should look for role models from scriptures. So, say Hanuman, being a person like Hanuman, Angad, or some sages. So we should have strong role models. So Narsi Mehta or Chhat Goswamis. So we should have role models who are really, who teach us the right things in life, and they will help us that way. So have the right kind of a role model, which is important. Okay, so this will end. So now we have some time more. So any questions, anybody? So I can do one more small story of Shabri Mata. Should I do? Yes, Meera, Keshvi, it's okay. Yeah, I did. Yeah, okay. So, okay, we'll do a small story of Shabri Mata. So Shabri Mata, we all know, she's a great devotee of Lord Ram. So Shabri Mata, it goes from her childhood days. So she was a young girl. So one day when she gets up in the morning, so she sees many, many animals, goats, hens, so many animals outside her house. So she becomes curious and she asks her mother, why so many animals are there today in our house? So her mother says, tomorrow is your wedding and we'll be having a feast. So these animals will be cooked for your feast. And at that time, in those days, marriage, nobody used to ask the girl, about the marriage. They were informed that tomorrow is your marriage. So the things have changed. But at that time, the girl was just informed, tomorrow is your marriage, come and you'll be married. So here also, when she realized, for my marriage, so many animals will be cut. So what she did, she ran away. She ran away in the night, dark night. She just ran away from her house. Because she said, I don't want innocent animals to be killed for my sake. So she went. And she reached Matang Rishi's ashram. So Matang Rishi's ashram, maybe somewhere in Karnataka. This place is there. So she went there and she started serving him. So what she used to do? So, but she belonged to a scheduled, small caste. So the Brahmanas would never like her. So what she used to do, she used to get up early in the morning. Say suppose the rishis got up at 4 a.m. She used to get up at 3 a.m. And 3 a.m. what she used to do? She used to go and clean the ashram. So she used to do the cleaning job of that. And when in the morning the other sages used to get up and the other who had the duty of cleaning, they used to wake up and see, this is clean, so they don't have to do any work. And this continued for many days. So then these disciples told to Matang Rishi, every day we wake up, we used to clean the hermitage, the ashram, but every day morning we find that, somebody has already cleaned the ashram. So we don't know who is doing it, but so Matang Rishi became curious, who is doing this. So one day early morning, he woke up. He woke up at 3 a.m. to see who is the one who is coming daily and cleaning the ashram. So he caught Shabri. Shabri is actually not a name, it was a caste. So her real name was not known. So she's called Shabri Mata. So he caught him. Who are you? What are you doing? So she said, no, I'm doing seva. Please allow me to do so. So Matang Rishi allowed. But other sages did not want, because they saw, she's from a small caste. They did not like. So some of the sages left his ashram, but some stayed back. But he was very clear, she's a nice soul and she's doing seva. And nobody should be stopped from doing seva of a guru. So she continued and she did this seva for many years. So when Matang Rishi, was about to leave his body, before leaving his body, he told Shabri Mata, see Shabri, Lord Ram will come one day to meet you. And be prepared, he'll come and meet you and then you'll be liberated. So Shabri Mata was very happy, Lord Ram will come. And then what she did, every day she started cleaning. As she was cleaning, she started getting fruits, putting flowers down on the floor and getting fruits for Lord Ram. And she did this activity for 1,000 years. So Lord Ram, his Maharaj, Guru had told, Matang Rishi told, Lord Ram will come. And for 1,000 years, still Lord Ram had not come. So suppose somebody tells us in today's world, Lord Ram will come. So how many days we can wait? So we'll wait for a week. Maybe we'll wait for a month. After that, so we'll say, this Guru is bogus. Nobody is going to come. People will not have faith. But having faith in our Guru is the most important thing. So Shabri Mata had faith. And she waited. She waited for 1,000 years. And after 1,000 years, Lord Ram actually came. So faith and devotion is very, very important. And faith in your Guru, what he says. And then when Lord Ram came, so when Lord Ram came, so every sages who were there were many ashrams there. So all the sages became so happy. They said, this Lord Ram will come at our place. So what did Lord Ram do? He asked the sages, where is Shabri Mata's ashram? So all the sages, were wondering, they're all false ego fell. And then they're wondering, Lord Ram has not come to our place and he wants to go to Shabri Mata's ashram, who is such a schedule. So, but before he went there, the sages showed one Pampa Sarovar. Pampa Sarovar is a lake which is there in Karnataka near Hampi. So the sages told, please help us because this pond has become polluted. So how it had become polluted? That once Shabri Mata had come to take water from there, and the sages had hit Shabri Mata with a stone, which hit her feet, and there was blood which fell into the pond, and that water became little polluted. So after that, the water was not good for usage. So they thought, Lord Ram has come by his feet, by touching of his feet or hands, the water will become pure. So said, okay, I'll come. So Lord Ram tried. So Lord Ram put his feet. Then he did a couple of things, but still the water did not get pure. So after that, Lord Ram asked the sages, how come this thing has become polluted? Said, one Shabri stays here. She's of a scheduled caste. She's this thing. And she came for filling the pond, and then we hit her stone and her blood fell into this thing. And because of that, so then said, then the solution is you bring her here, wash her feet, and with that feet water, you put it down in the pond and it will get pure. And then they did what Ram told them, but although they were not willing, but since Lord Ram told, so they had no choice. So they brought Shabri Mata, washed her feet, and then the water of her dust of the feet was put into the pond, and the pond water became purified. So here Lord Ram teaches, my devotee's insults, only my devotee can only forgive you. Nobody else can do that. So, and the purity of the dust of the feet of the devotees is very, very powerful. So we should always pray for the dust of the devotees. That's what we pray. So that's where she happened. And then Lord Ram visits to Shabri Mata's ashram, and we all know Shabri Mata gave this thing, the base, what do you call in English? The fruit name. I'm not getting the name, but so bear, the fruit was given to Shabri, to Lord Ram, and she used to taste, which was sweet, she used to give, which was sour, she used to throw it out. It's a boar. Okay, Meera. Okay, usko English mein boar bolte hain. Okay, so boar was given, and so Lord Ram used to take, but Lakshman did not take. Lakshman said, it's tasted, it is jhootha hai. That's why he was not taking. But Lord Ram, because it was with affection, love and affection, he used to take. And then afterward, Shabri Mata got liberated. And Shabri Mata, when guided Lord Ram, you will meet Sugriv ahead, and he will guide you about searching your wife. So Lord Ram and Lakshman, they were searching their wife because at the time Sita was kidnapped. And then they guided him. And then Shabri Mata was liberated. So here there are two things we learned. One is, so going in future when Lakshman fights, is in the war, so he becomes, he is attacked by some arrows. Lord Ram is not injured, but Lakshman is injured, correct? You remember that? Lakshman gets injured and Hanuman goes for getting the jari booties from Himalaya. Yeah, Meera?
Yeah. Yes.
So when in future what happens, Lakshman asked Lord Ram, how come you did not become injured? I became injured with the same arrows. We have the same teachings. We are same. We went to the same school. Everything was same. But how come you did not get injured? Only I got injured. So Lord Ram tells you remember when Shabri Mata was giving you that fruit had medicinal value. So you did not eat it. I ate it. That's the reason I did not get injured. Then one more thing comes, one of the sages where I heard from one of the preachers is that, so was this fruit jhootha or, eaten by somebody else? Was it jhootha? Do we say na jhoothe bear khilaye? So is it jhoothe bear? Huh? Anybody? Is it jhoothe bear or they were jhoothe bear, na? You listen, na? The jhoothe bear khaye. So one of the sorry?
Yeah, jhoothe bear.
Jhoothe bear. So one of the preachers actually says, the bear actually they were not jhoothe. They were not this thing. The reason being when Shabri Mata was always chanting the name of Lord Ram. So when she was chanting the name of Lord Ram, so what was in her mouth? Lord Ram. So Lord Ram and Lord Ram's name is not different. It's same. So Lord Ram's name was there in her mouth and Lord Ram. So she tasted the fruit. So it was Lord Ram only who tasted it, and it was given to Lord Ram. So the bear actually were not jhoothe. They were not eaten by somebody else. They were eaten by the Lord Ram himself. So this is one of the thinking of great Rasik sages, great sages who think